Night settles over the cliffside neighborhood like velvet, the ocean below speaking in slow breaths that rise to the manicured hedges of a mansion cut from glass and steel. Beneath its vast portico, where a biometric gate glows in different blue, a small figure waits in the drizzle, thin jacket soaked, shoes splitting at the toes. He is maybe 9, lean as a shadow, his skin glistening with mist. He keeps one palm on his stomach to quiet it and the other closed around a crumpled paper boat, the kind a child folds to keep a wish from sinking. Past the wrought iron, a convoy of quiet machines glides along the driveway. A self-driving sedan humming with electric confidence. A drone returning from a grocery run with perfect fruit boxed in white. The house is a cathedral of efficiency. Every light on a schedule. Every door obeying the right voice. Inside, Marcus Hale, age 42, billionaire, inventor of elegant software that predicts the market's caprice, stares into a glass of untasted water. His dinner is plated like an equation, symmetrical and joyless. He eats alone. He lives alone. The house listens as he moves, adjusting the temperature by half a degree, translating his silence into preferences. When the gate detects motion that isn't in its library of expectations, a chime informs Marcus on the lacquered console. He glances at the screen. A boy framed by rain, blinking against the light. "Security," Marcus says, and the house answers with a polite tone. "There's a child at the gate." He pauses, frowning at the image. "He'll wander off if you leave him." The house offers options in a soft voice. Alert patrol. Notify city services. Issue a pre-recorded message. Marcus selects the message. A speaker at the gate blooms with calm authority. "This property is private. Please move along." The boy does not move along. He leans closer, squinting at his own reflection in the gate's gloss. "Sir." His voice is steady but small. "Do you have any bread? I can do chores for it. I won't touch nothing I shouldn't." Rain thickens. The boy's breath feathers in the cold. He begins to hum without seeming to decide to. 3 notes that rise and fall like something remembered rather than sung. The melody is not pretty, exactly. It is plain and old, with the comfort of a worn blanket around it. The sound slips through the gate and into the night, and somehow it reaches the sensors wrong, as if the house doesn't know where to file it. In the kitchen, Marcus hears it too, faint as a memory from another life. He tells himself this is not his problem. He tells himself the city has systems the way he has systems, and the systems will operate as designed. He has a board meeting at dawn. He has an acquisition he will sign with a signature that costs 1,000 salaries. He has a spreadsheet for compassion. Philanthropy directed by metrics, outcomes color-coded. He sets down his glass carefully. It makes a clean sound in the quiet. The boy tries again. "Please, I haven't eaten since yesterday. I think it was yesterday." Marcus rubs the bridge of his nose. Once, long ago, when love was a language he still spoke, his mother would hum while shelling peas at a chipped sink in a narrow kitchen. 3 notes, rising and falling, simple as breathing. The memory knocks at a door he has kept locked for a decade. He ignores it. He reaches for his phone to call the private security firm that keeps this cul-de-sac wrapped in unobtrusive vigilance. Before he can dial, the front door recognizes his motion and opens on its own. Cold air drifts into the hall, bringing the smell of wet pavement and salt. Marcus stands at the threshold in an immaculate sweater, wealth fitting him like armor. The boy sees him and straightens, too fast, the paper boat crushed in his fist. "Sir," the boy says, "I won't take long. Where are your parents?" Marcus asks because it feels like the correct question, the one adults are supposed to ask in such scenes. The boy swallows. "Mama says to keep walking toward the lighted houses. She had to rest. I came from the shelter when it closed. They said they'd open at 7, but that's a long time from now." He lifts his chin with more courage than his body can afford. "I can rake leaves. Or, if you got a broom, I'm good with a broom." Marcus's porch is a museum of clean lines. There are no leaves to rake. The drone has carted away the day's dust. The house, eager to serve, whispers through a hidden speaker, Shall I contact authorities? He considers the threshold like a border between continents. He looks at the boy's shivering knees, the delicate clavicles showing through the damp fabric of his shirt. His logic is a practice blade. You must not invite chaos into a system that works. You must not let sentiment do the work of structure. He takes a breath, tasting the metallic calm of a man who has earned his serenity. Wait here, he says. He vanishes inside. The door drifts toward closure as if relieved. In the kitchen, he taps a command. Cabinets glide open. Lights brighten. The refrigerator offers its gleam of engineered abundance. He arranges bread, cheese, an apple whose red seems almost fictional, into a paper bag. He adds a bottle of water. Then, after a pause that irritates him, a second apple. He returns to the door with the bag like a compromise. Through the rain, the boy's eyes find the food and widen, but he doesn't take it immediately. He glances behind Marcus, into the gleaming house, as if a larger question is hiding there. What's your name? Marcus asks, stalling. Isaiah, the boy says. He looks at his knuckles. My mama calls me Zay. Take the bag, Isaiah. Isaiah reaches but stops an inch shy. The rain threads through the space between his hand and the offering. Sir. He swallows again, and when he speaks, the words come out raw and impossible. Could I come in to eat it where it's warm? Just for tonight? I'll be quiet. I don't take up space. His voice trembles, then steadies. Please. I'll leave before anyone wakes up. Like I was never here. The house listens for Marcus's answer, ready to obey. Down the hill, the ocean keeps breathing. Somewhere in the city, a shelter door is still locked, and a woman is still resting, and a clock on a neon pharmacy holds to its indifferent red numbers. Marcus feels the blade of his logic tilt inside him, scraping against something softer. The boy's three-note hum trembles back into the air, rising, falling, rising. And for the first time in years, Marcus hears the sound land in the hollow place his life has not filled. He holds the door with one hand, the bag with the other, and the moment stretches thin as glass. The world has organized itself so that one man can decide whether a child is cold tonight. Sir, Isaiah whispers. Please. Marcus's jaw tenses. The house offers a final prompt in its patient tone. Awaiting instruction. Rain beads on the threshold. The paper boat in Isaiah's fist darkens and begins to tear. The word that will determine the night forms behind Marcus's teeth and waits. Marcus does not remember deciding. He only realizes he has stepped aside when Isaiah slips past him with a small, grateful nod, his thin shoulders brushing against the warmth of the house's breath. The mansion inhales him like an anomaly, sensors noting the unregistered presence. Marcus feels the house's disapproval in subtle shifts, the dimming of lights, the cautious tone of the system's chimes. Isaiah clutches the bag of food but does not tear into it yet. Instead, he studies the space as if stepping onto another planet. The marble floor gleams, reflecting his worn sneakers. Glass walls look out over the restless sea. On a low table, a sculpture twists into abstract perfection. Isaiah's eyes widen, then lower, as if ashamed to stand where nothing is broken. You can sit, Marcus says, pointing to a stool at the kitchen island. His voice is careful, clipped, as if the syllables might betray uncertainty. Isaiah climbs onto the stool. The edge of the countertop rises almost to his chin. He opens the paper bag slowly, reverently. The scent of real food loosens something in him. He eats with both haste and caution, pausing to chew, glancing up each time as though he might be stopped. Marcus pours himself water and watches, arms folded. He tells himself he is observing for safety, that allowing a stranger inside, even a child, could be reckless. Yet what he sees does not match the calculation. He sees a boy who thanks the apple with his eyes before biting. A boy who chews until the last shred is gone, who licks nothing from his fingers but keeps them folded tight, polite. The house, unhelpful, breaks the silence. Unregistered entity detected. Would you like to remove the intruder, Mr. Hale? Isaiah freezes. His knuckles whiten around the crust of bread. His voice shrinks to a whisper. Am I intruding? Something sharp pierces Marcus's chest, like the memory of another child's voice long silenced. He clears his throat. No. Finish eating. He turns to the wall panel and mutters. Disable verbal prompts for tonight. The house obeys, falling into uneasy quiet. For a few minutes, the only sound is chewing, rain on glass, the muted pulse of the ocean. Isaiah eats every crumb, then wipes the counter with the paper bag as though to erase evidence of himself. When he is done, he slides from the stool. Thank you, sir. I'll go now. Marcus studies him. Outside, the rain has thickened into sheets, a storm approaching. Where will you go? Isaiah hesitates. His small jaw sets. Back to Mama. She's at the corner lot, near the closed diner. If I can find her. Marcus's mind supplies images. A woman curled beneath neon signage, rain soaking through cardboard, a boy smaller than his hunger searching through shadows. He wants to dismiss it, to say the city has shelters, systems. But Isaiah's presence has already cracked that armor. You'll stay here tonight, Marcus hears himself say. The boy blinks. Sir, I said you'll stay. There's a guest room. It's unused. The word unused tastes bitter. He hasn't opened that room since before his mother's death. It has been preserved like an untouched page. Linens folded, silence folded deeper still. Now he imagines Isaiah asleep there, a heartbeat filling the vacuum. Isaiah swallows hard. I don't want to be trouble. Marcus shakes his head, already moving toward the hallway. Come. The guest room door slides open reluctantly, hinges sighing. Inside, a bed neatly made, sheets pale as morning. A painting of a sailboat on a calm horizon hangs above the headboard. Dust motes drift like tiny constellations. Isaiah stands in the doorway, hesitant. This is, for me? Marcus nods. For tonight. The boy steps in, barefoot now, leaving damp socks on the carpet. He touches the quilt with fingers that tremble. He doesn't lie down yet. He kneels beside the bed, folds his small hands, and whispers words Marcus hasn't heard since childhood prayers slipped from his own vocabulary. Thank you, Lord, for the food and the roof. Thank you for the man who opened the door. The words strike Marcus harder than any accusation. He lingers at the threshold, caught between skepticism and an ache that feels suspiciously like longing. Isaiah crawls under the quilt, small form vanishing in its folds. His eyes close within seconds, exhaustion overtaking fear. Marcus watches the rise and fall of the quilt. The room smells faintly of cedar, of the past. The house remains silent, but the storm outside grows louder. Thunder rolls, rattling glass walls. Marcus returns to his study and sits at his immaculate desk. But the spreadsheets blur. His mind drifts back to the boy's whispered prayer. It has been years since anyone thanked him without wanting something more. Years since gratitude was not measured in stock prices, board approvals, or magazine covers. He feels unsettled, exposed. From down the hall, barely audible through the storm, Isaiah hums again in his sleep. 3 notes, simple and unadorned. Rising, falling, rising. Marcus closes his eyes. For the first time in a long while, the house does not feel entirely empty. Morning unfolds with pale sunlight washing the mansion's glass walls, gilding every surface in quiet gold. The storm has passed, leaving the world scrubbed clean. For Marcus, however, the night's intrusion lingers like an echo. He rises before dawn, restless, pacing his study with coffee untouched. Numbers scroll across his wall screen. Market forecasts, acquisitions, the future distilled into percentages. Yet his thoughts keep drifting down the hall, where a boy lies asleep beneath quilts that once guarded emptiness. At 7, the house gently notifies him, "Guest is awake." The phrase feels strange. Guest. Not intruder, not anomaly, but guest. Marcus sets aside his tablet and walks to the kitchen. He finds Isaiah perched carefully on the stool again, legs dangling above the polished floor. His hair is tousled, his clothes still damp from last night. Yet his posture is neat, back straight, as if trying to earn the right to sit there. "Good morning," Marcus says, his voice more formal than intended. Isaiah startles, then offers a shy nod. "Morning, sir. I was just waiting. Didn't want to touch anything." Marcus gestures to the counter. "Hungry?" Isaiah hesitates before nodding. "Yes, sir." Marcus instructs the house to prepare breakfast, but halfway through the command, he stops. He looks at the boy's thin frame, the wary eyes that have learned to expect rejection. Instead of letting the system cook, he opens the refrigerator himself. For the first time in years, he cracks eggs into a pan, burns butter slightly, flips bread into the toaster. The motions are clumsy, unfamiliar, but grounding. Isaiah watches in awe as though witnessing an impossible trick. "You cook?" the boy asks softly. "I used to," Marcus admits. He doesn't add that he learned beside his mother in a kitchen no larger than the guest room, where her laughter carried more warmth than any heater. When the food is ready, scrambled eggs, toast, a bowl of strawberries, Isaiah clasps his hands briefly, whispering a small prayer. He eats with careful gratitude, chewing each bite as though it might be the last. Marcus takes a seat across from him, watching in silence, strangely moved. Between bites, Isaiah finally speaks. "Do you live here all alone?" "Yes." The answer is sharp, definitive. Yet it hangs in the air like an accusation. Isaiah swallows, glances around at the cavernous space. "It must be nice. No one to yell at you. No one to tell you you're in the way." Marcus blinks, unsettled. "And lonely," he hears himself say, before he can stop. Isaiah looks up, surprised by the honesty. Then, softly, "I know what that feels like." The words hang between them, simple and devastating. Marcus clears his throat, seeking control. "Where is your mother?" Isaiah fiddles with the crust of his toast. "She's tired a lot. Sick sometimes. We don't always get a bed at the shelter. She said to keep faith, that God watches out." His eyes flicker to Marcus. "Maybe he sent me to your gate last night." The statement jolts Marcus like a live wire. He leans back, frowning. He does not believe in divine assignments. He believes in algorithms, in patterns that mimic chaos. Yet the boy's certainty unsettles him. Silence stretches until Marcus finally says, "You can stay here until we find your mother, but this is temporary." Isaiah nods quickly, relief flooding his small face. "Thank you, sir. I'll help around. I'll be good." The house chimes, offering Marcus his daily schedule. Calls with investors, a product demonstration, a lunch with senators. For years, he has adhered to its structure without question. Now, he looks at Isaiah still chewing carefully, his feet swinging beneath the stool, and realizes the day has already strayed from the pattern. Later that morning, Marcus tries to work. He sits before towering screens of data, voice commands at the ready, but concentration eludes him. From the kitchen drift small noises. Isaiah humming again, trying every drawer, murmuring apologies to the house when it corrects him. The melody threads through the sterile air, softening edges Marcus once thought immutable. By noon, Marcus finds himself back in the kitchen, watching Isaiah attempt to pour cereal without spilling. "You don't have to ask the house for everything," Marcus says, surprising himself. "Just look around. Use what you need." Isaiah beams, small teeth flashing. "Really?" "Yes." The boy eats, then pulls the crumpled paper boat from his pocket, smoothing it on the counter. Its edges are frayed, rain-damaged, but he shapes it carefully, whispering, "Still floats." Marcus studies the fragile object, a flimsy vessel stubbornly refusing to collapse. It unsettles him in ways spreadsheets never could. That evening, Marcus retreats to his study, yet he doesn't close the door. He listens as Isaiah's laughter, light, rare, spills into the house. The mansion, once a vault of silence, now holds an echo of something dangerously close to life. When bedtime comes, Isaiah pauses at the guest room doorway. "Sir." "Yes. Thank you for letting me be here." Marcus nods stiffly. Good night. Isaiah slips inside. Soon, the soft three-note hum drifts down the hall again, rising and falling. Marcus sits in the half-light of his study, staring at his own reflection in the glass wall. For the first time in years, he feels the reflection is not enough. The night deepens. Somewhere inside him, a thought stirs, one he dares not speak aloud. Perhaps his house has never been full, no matter how much it held. Perhaps it has only been waiting. The following days blur into a rhythm that Marcus cannot explain. He tells himself it is temporary, a pause before Isaiah's mother is found or social services intervene. Yet with each dawn, the boy remains in the guest room, and the house adjusts itself as though learning a new resident. It greets Marcus with his agenda, then softly notes, Isaiah has awakened. On the third morning, Marcus discovers Isaiah in the garden, barefoot in dew, chasing the drone that trims the hedges. The drone hovers uncertainly, its algorithms unprepared for the laughter of a child. Isaiah runs until he collapses in the grass, chest heaving, face glowing with sunlight. Marcus stands at the patio door, coffee cooling in his hand. He cannot remember the last time he saw joy unmanufactured, a joy not purchased or performed for shareholders. Something inside him loosens, but he pushes it down, turning back to his schedule. Yet Isaiah keeps invading the quiet. In the kitchen, he hums while drying dishes with towels too big for his hands. In the living room, he arranges Marcus's immaculate books into crooked towers, declaring he is building castles. At night, he insists on saying prayers aloud, words drifting through the halls like incense. One evening, Marcus finds him asleep on the couch, paper boat clutched tight, the television casting pale light across his small features. Marcus lifts the boy gently, surprised at how little weight he carries, and tucks him into bed. As he draws the quilt, Isaiah murmurs, half asleep, "Thanks, Daddy." Marcus freezes, hand hovering above the quilt. The word lands with the weight of something both alien and long forgotten. He leaves the room quickly, heart hammering, unsettled by how the single word reconfigured the silence inside him. The next morning, Marcus's world collides with his carefully guarded reality. His assistant, Claire, arrives for their weekly in-person briefing. She steps into the foyer, tablet in hand, but stops when she notices Isaiah perched at the kitchen counter, swinging his legs. "Mr. Hale," she begins cautiously. "Who is this?" Isaiah looks up, crumbs at the corner of his mouth. "I'm Isaiah," he says brightly. "I'm staying here." Claire raises an eyebrow, her professional calm strained. "Staying?" Marcus clears his throat. "Temporarily, until we find his mother." Claire studies him. She has managed his empire for years, knows his routines like scripture. Never once has he permitted unpredictability into his home. She lowers her voice. "Marcus, do you understand the implications? Liability, reputation, the press." "I'm aware," Marcus interrupts, sharper than intended. "I'll handle it." Isaiah senses the tension. He slips from the stool, muttering, "I can go if it's a problem." The words stab Marcus in a way he cannot articulate. He softens his tone. "You're not a problem." He glances at Claire, daring her to contradict him. She doesn't, but her expression is heavy with questions she does not ask. After she leaves, Marcus finds Isaiah sitting on the steps outside, head bowed. "I don't want to get you in trouble," the boy whispers. Marcus sits beside him, the ocean stretching endlessly below. "You're not trouble, Isaiah. You're unexpected." The boy smiles faintly at the word, as though unexpected could mean precious. That night, something strange occurs. Marcus wakes at 2 a.m. to the sound of humming, not from Isaiah's room, but from everywhere. The house's speakers are silent, yet the melody drifts through vents, down halls, threading into his dreams. It is the same three-note hum Isaiah carries like a secret inheritance. He follows it down the corridor, barefoot, until he reaches the guest room. Isaiah sleeps peacefully, lips closed, chest rising and falling. Yet the sound continues, soft as wind, filling the room with an unplaceable warmth. Marcus grips the doorframe, unsettled. For years he has trusted only what can be measured, coded, sold. But no equation explains this. The melody stirs something fragile in him, an ache that feels like hope. In the morning, Isaiah doesn't mention the night's song. He simply smiles, as though knowing more than he says. Later that week, Marcus takes Isaiah into the city. The boy's eyes widen at everything. The subway roar, the glittering windows, the pigeons strutting between feet. At a bakery, Isaiah presses his nose to the glass until Marcus, uncharacteristically indulgent, buys him a pastry. Isaiah devours it, sugar dusting his grin. As they walk, Marcus notices people staring. Not at him, though his name is known, but at the unlikely pair they make. A billionaire in tailored wool, and a boy in second-hand sneakers, walking side by side. Marcus feels oddly unashamed. They stop at the corner lot Isaiah mentioned. A shuttered diner looms, graffiti scrawled across its doors. A woman sleeps nearby on flattened cardboard, her body wrapped in a torn blanket. Isaiah's breath catches. "Mama!" He runs forward. The woman stirs, eyes sunken but brightening as she sees him. She gathers him into her frail arms, coughing with the effort. "Zay, oh my baby." Marcus stands back, watching. The reunion is raw, holy in its simplicity. Yet when the woman looks up, her gaze sharpens on him. "You found him?" "Yes," Marcus says quietly. She studies him with wary gratitude, then breaks into another coughing fit. Isaiah clings tighter, alarmed. "Mama, you're sick again." The woman strokes his hair, whispering, "I'll be fine. Don't worry." But Marcus sees the tremor in her hands, the pallor in her skin. As they walk away, Isaiah's joy dims under worry. Marcus feels a weight pressing on his chest. He tells himself it is none of his business. Yet when Isaiah slips his small hand into his, seeking reassurance, Marcus squeezes back before he can stop himself. For the first time in years, he realizes his empire cannot shield him from the truth written on a child's face. That night, as Isaiah sleeps curled in the guest bed, Marcus stares out at the sea. He knows a storm is coming, one that cannot be managed by algorithms or money. Yet beneath his fear, something else stirs. Something dangerous, something miraculous. Feels like love. The discovery of Isaiah's mother unsettles Marcus in ways he cannot fully admit. For days afterward, her coughing haunts him, sharp, hollow, like a warning bell. He learns she has no insurance, no permanent address, only a list of shelters and a body that betrays her more with each season. Isaiah senses his unease. At breakfast, while Marcus scrolls through financial projections, the boy folds napkins into little boats. "Mama says she'll get better," he insists, placing the fleet carefully along the counter. "She just needs rest. And maybe someone to help." Marcus does not answer. He has always believed problems are solvable with systems, capital, strategy, precision. Yet illness is not a market trend. Poverty is not a code to debug. These are cracks no algorithm has sealed. That evening, he drives Isaiah back to the diner lot, a basket of groceries in the trunk. The woman accepts them with trembling gratitude. "God bless you," she whispers, though her eyes linger on Marcus with suspicion. She knows men like him, or thinks she does. Men who own but never belong, who give but never stay. When Isaiah curls against her side, she strokes his hair and murmurs, "Don't be a burden, Zay. Be invisible when you must." The words lance Marcus, a child taught to vanish. He clenches the steering wheel on the way home, knuckles pale, the boy's hum filling the silence. Days stretch into weeks. Isaiah grows more comfortable in the mansion, though he still moves with caution, as if afraid he'll be asked to leave at any moment. Marcus notices subtle changes. The boy's cheeks rounding with regular meals, the spark returning to his eyes. The house itself seems to adapt, adjusting lights to warmer tones, softening its voice when addressing Isaiah. Yet conflict brews. One night, Claire confronts Marcus again. She stands in the study, tablet clutched like a shield. Marcus, this isn't sustainable. Reporters will notice. Investors will ask questions. What happens when someone discovers a homeless child living in your house? He's not just a homeless child, Marcus snaps. Claire studies him. Then what is he? The question hangs. Marcus has no answer that fits within the neat cells of a spreadsheet. That same night, he overhears Isaiah praying in the guest room. Please, Lord, don't let Mama die. Don't let Mr. Hale send me away. Help us be together. The plea slices through Marcus's defenses. He sits in his study until dawn, staring at shadows that refuse to yield answers. The breaking point arrives sooner than he expects. One afternoon, Isaiah returns from the diner lot shaken. Mama fell, he says, voice quivering. She couldn't get up for a long time. Marcus drives them to the city hospital. Fluorescent corridors smell of disinfectant and despair. Isaiah's mother lies pale on the bed, machines tracing her faltering rhythm. Doctors murmur about advanced illness, chronic neglect, the slim chance of recovery. Isaiah clutches her hand, whispering, "Don't leave me, Mama. Please don't." His small shoulders shake. Marcus stands by the door, feeling utterly powerless. His fortune cannot erase the fear in the boy's eyes. His technology cannot restore the woman's strength. For the first time in decades, Marcus faces a crisis that logic cannot command. The doctor pulls him aside. She'll need long-term care. But the boy, does he have legal guardianship? Marcus hesitates. Guardianship. The word lands heavy. He is not this child's father. He is not family. And yet, he looks back at Isaiah, who presses his forehead to his mother's frail hand, humming those 3 notes through tears. The sound fills the sterile air, vibrating like a thread of hope. Marcus feels it tighten around his own heart, binding him to the boy in ways he cannot explain. The doctor waits. "Sir." Marcus swallows hard. "I'll take responsibility." The words leave his mouth before he can retreat. In that moment, the path before him shifts irrevocably. That night, Isaiah refuses to leave the hospital room. Marcus stays too, pacing the corridor. At 3 a.m., he hears the hum again. Isaiah's lullaby, trembling but steady. For a moment, the monitors seem to calm, the woman's breathing evening out. Marcus closes his eyes. He does not know if it is coincidence or miracle. All he knows is that love has done what wealth could not. It has held despair at bay, if only for a moment. When dawn breaks, Isaiah looks up at him, eyes swollen but fierce. "Don't leave us, sir. Please." Marcus kneels, finally meeting the boy's gaze without armor. His voice is raw, uncalculated. "I won't." And for the first time in years, he means it. The hospital days blur into a fog of waiting rooms and whispered updates. Marcus, who has always measured time in quarterly reports, now counts it in the beeps of machines and the shallow breaths of Isaiah's mother. Isaiah rarely leaves her side, curled in the hard plastic chair, his paper boat perched on the windowsill like a silent sentinel. Marcus finds himself negotiating with doctors, not shareholders. He signs forms, arranges specialists, offers payment without question. Money moves mountains here, yes, but not the mountain of disease itself. He realizes with a hollow ache that his fortune can only extend life, not heal it. One night, Isaiah drifts into uneasy sleep, cheek against his mother's hand. Marcus watches, his chest tight. Claire arrives with documents needing signatures, but when she sees the scene, she lowers her voice. "Marcus," she whispers, "this isn't like you. You've built walls your whole life. Why this boy?" He doesn't answer at first. He simply stares at Isaiah, remembering the cold emptiness of his house before those 3 notes filled it. Finally, he says, "Because he walked through the only door I had left locked. And now, I can't close it again." Claire's eyes soften. For once, she does not argue. She only nods and leaves him to the silence. The crisis deepens when social services arrive. 2 officials in gray suits step into the hospital room, voices firm, eyes clinical. They inform Marcus that custody arrangements must be formalized. that Isaiah cannot simply live in his mansion without legal guardianship. Isaiah grips Marcus's sleeve in panic. Please don't let them take me. Marcus stands taller, his voice calm but fierce. He stays with me. His mother knows it. I know it. And soon, the court will know it. The officials exchange glances, unimpressed. You'll have to prove suitability, Mr. Hale. Emotional stability, not just financial. Children need love, not assets. The irony cuts Marcus to the bone. Love, the one commodity he has not practiced, the one language he nearly forgot. When the officials leave, Isaiah looks at him with tearful eyes. You'll fight for me, won't you? Marcus kneels, steadying the boy's trembling shoulders. With everything I have. That night, exhaustion swallows him. He falls asleep in the chair by the window, head tilted back. In the haze between sleep and waking, he hears the lullaby again. Isaiah's 3 notes, rising and falling, but this time richer, as if a chorus joins him. He sees his mother's face, gentle, smiling from some memory too deep to reach. She whispers, "Don't let him walk alone, Marcus." He startles awake, breath catching, tears burning his eyes. The hospital lights buzz overhead, but the warmth of the vision lingers. Isaiah stirs. You okay? Marcus nods, swallowing the lump in his throat. Yes, go back to sleep. But in truth, something has awakened inside him. A resolve deeper than contracts, stronger than logic. The next morning, Isaiah's mother beckons Marcus close. Her voice is faint, breath thin. Promise me, when I can't anymore, you'll keep him safe. Marcus takes her frail hand in his. I promise. Tears slip down her cheeks, but there is peace in her eyes. Then I can rest. Isaiah, too young to understand the finality, clings tighter. No, Mama, don't talk like that. She hums the lullaby softly, her voice breaking. Isaiah joins in, their fragile harmony threading through the sterile air. Marcus listens, throat raw, as if faith itself is teaching him a language he lost long ago. And in that moment, he knows, the battle ahead is no longer about acquisitions or reputation. It is about love, pure and fierce, and the boy who has already claimed his heart. That evening, as the sun bleeds crimson across the city skyline, Marcus stands by the hospital window. The reflection staring back is not the man who once dined alone in a silent mansion. This face is older, softer, carrying both fear and hope. Behind him, Isaiah whispers, We'll be a family, right? Marcus turns, voice steady as a vow. Yes, Isaiah, we already are. The days that follow are heavy with both dread and fragile hope. Isaiah's mother drifts in and out of consciousness, her breath shallow, her hands cool in her son's grip. Marcus keeps vigil alongside Isaiah, dividing his hours between hospital benches and conference calls that blur into irrelevance. For the first time in decades, the empire he built feels weightless compared to the small boy asleep against his shoulder. One afternoon, a social worker arrives with forms and warnings. Mr. Hale, guardianship hearings will be scheduled within weeks. If the mother passes, the state decides where the child goes. You cannot simply declare custody. Isaiah looks up, frightened. Marcus answers before fear can root. Then I'll prove it. I'll prove this is where he belongs. The worker studies him skeptically. Love, not wealth, is the measure. When she leaves, Isaiah whispers, They don't think you love me. Marcus kneels to meet his eyes, voice raw. Then we'll show them. Together. That night, Marcus finds Isaiah by the hospital chapel. The boy sits before a flickering candle, paper boat in his lap. His voice is soft but steady as he hums the 3-note lullaby. The sound swells in the tiny chapel, echoing as though the walls themselves hum back. Marcus sits beside him, uneasy. Why sing here? Isaiah shrugs. Mama says when we sing, heaven hears better. He glances up, eyes shining. Do you believe that? Marcus opens his mouth, then closes it. For years he believed only in data. But here, in this dim room, with Isaiah's small voice weaving through the candlelight, he feels something stir. I want to, he whispers. Isaiah smiles as though that is enough. The following week brings the darkest hour. Isaiah's mother worsens suddenly. Machines beep frantically. Doctors rush in, and Marcus pulls Isaiah close as chaos surrounds them. The boy trembles, whispering the lullaby through tears, clinging to his mother's hand. Marcus feels helpless, yet something inside compels him forward. He bends beside the bed and, with a voice he hardly recognizes, joins Isaiah's hum. His tone is rough, broken, but together their notes weave a fragile harmony. For a moment, the monitors stabilize. The woman's eyes flutter open, and she gazes at them with aching love. With her last strength, she breathes, "He's yours now." Then her hand goes still. Isaiah's wail pierces the sterile air, a sound no machine can soften. Marcus gathers him close, holding him as tightly as if his arms could shield him from grief itself. Tears burn down Marcus's face, tears he hasn't shed since his own mother passed. "Shoo!" he whispers, though his voice shakes. "You're not alone. Not anymore. I promised her. I promise you." The boy buries his face in his chest, sobbing until exhaustion overtakes him. Marcus rocks him gently, his sweater damp with Isaiah's tears, the paper boat crushed between them but still, somehow unbroken. When dawn arrives, hospital corridors glow pale with new light. Marcus stands at the window, Isaiah asleep in his arms. The city stretches endless, indifferent. Yet in his heart, something irreversible has shifted. He no longer sees Isaiah as a guest or a burden. He sees him as his son. The road ahead will be brutal. Legal battles, public scrutiny, personal sacrifice. But Marcus knows now that love is the only empire worth building. He kisses Isaiah's forehead and whispers, "We'll face it all, together." And for the first time in his life, he believes the words completely. The weeks that follow are a storm of paperwork, hearings, and whispered judgments in court corridors. Reporters swarm outside the courthouse, eager to photograph the billionaire who dares to claim guardianship of a boy from the streets. Questions sting like barbs. Is this charity or publicity? Why him? Why now? Marcus stands tall, Isaiah's hand gripping his tightly. He answers nothing to the press. His words, he has decided, belong inside the courtroom, words of truth, not performance. Inside, the proceedings are harsh. Social workers speak of instability. Lawyers point to Marcus's solitary lifestyle, his reliance on technology over human connection. One even sneers, "Mr. Hale, do you even know how to love a child?" The question slices him open. For a moment, silence stretches, and doubt threatens to suffocate him. Then he glances at Isaiah, whose wide eyes brim with both fear and faith. The boy hums softly under his breath. 3 notes, barely audible, but enough. Marcus rises, voice shaking but resolute. "No," he begins. "I didn't know how to love a child. Not until one appeared at my door, hungry, cold, and still willing to trust. He has taught me more about love in weeks than I learned in a lifetime of wealth. He doesn't need my fortune. He needs my heart, and it is his, entirely." The courtroom stills. Even the judge leans forward, moved despite protocol. Isaiah squeezes his hand, whispering, "Daddy." Marcus continues, louder now. "I may not have been there when he was born, but I will be there for every day that follows. I will not let him walk alone. That is my promise, before this court, before God, and before the memory of his mother, who entrusted me with her most precious gift." Tears sting Isaiah's cheeks, but his smile breaks through like dawn. The judge deliberates. The gavel strikes. Custody is granted. The sound reverberates like thunder through Marcus's chest. Isaiah leaps into his arms, clinging tight, laughter breaking through his tears. The courtroom fades around them. The murmurs, the paperwork, the flash of cameras. In that moment, only love matters. Outside, sunlight cuts through the gray clouds, falling directly on them. Isaiah tilts his face upward, eyes closed, as if basking in a blessing. "See," he whispers. "Mama said God would watch out." Marcus holds him tighter, voice breaking. She was right. That night, back at the mansion, the house greets them differently. Its lights glow warmer, its silence gentler. Isaiah runs through the halls, paper boat held high, shouting, "We're home!" Marcus watches from the doorway, heart aching with a joy he never thought possible. For the first time, the house does not feel like a monument to loneliness. It feels alive. As Isaiah drifts to sleep in his new room, Marcus stands by the window, the ocean spread vast before him. He remembers his mother's words in the dream, remembers Isaiah's faith, remembers the courtroom vow. For once, the billionaire does not calculate, does not plan, does not command. He simply listens, to the soft hum of the boy asleep down the hall, to the quiet miracle of love filling spaces money could never touch. And in that silence, he whispers aloud, "Thank you." The house records no command. No system responds. But Marcus feels the words rise beyond circuits and glass, into something greater, as if heaven itself has heard. Life inside the mansion changes in ways Marcus never could have imagined. Where silence once ruled, laughter now rings down the corridors. Isaiah decorates the pristine glass walls with hand-drawn pictures taped crookedly but proudly, boats, suns, and stick figures with wide smiles. Marcus doesn't remove them. Instead, he pauses often to study them, as though they are priceless works of art. At breakfast, Isaiah insists on pouring juice for both of them, though he nearly spills each time. Marcus, once rigid about perfection, finds himself chuckling at the mess. In the evenings, they cook together, Isaiah scrambling eggs, Marcus carefully flipping pancakes. The house, programmed for sterile efficiency, begins to feel less like a machine and more like a home warmed by human presence. One afternoon, Isaiah runs barefoot through the garden, chasing butterflies. Marcus follows at a slower pace, phone forgotten in his pocket. When Isaiah finally collapses into the grass, giggling, Marcus lies beside him, staring up at the sky. "What do you see?" he asks. Isaiah points. "A boat. A really big one, like it could carry everyone who's lost and bring them home." He looks at Marcus earnestly. "Maybe that's what you're supposed to do." The words land heavier than the boy could know. Marcus stares at the drifting clouds, wondering if this child has seen further into his heart than he ever dared himself. Weeks pass. Together, they visit the hospital to lay flowers for Isaiah's mother. Isaiah stands small at her graveside but hums the three-note lullaby, steady and brave. Marcus rests a hand on his shoulder, silent, but in his chest the melody beats like a vow. Later, Isaiah whispers, "Do you think she hears me?" "Yes," Marcus answers without hesitation. "And she's proud." For the first time since that night outside the mansion gates, Isaiah's smile blooms fully, unburdened. Seasons turn. The cold penthouse becomes a place of warmth. Marcus hosts a modest gathering for the first time in decades. Neighbors, colleagues, even Claire, who brings board games for Isaiah. Laughter spills from the living room. Music drifts through the halls. The mansion, once an altar to solitude, is transformed into a sanctuary of belonging. Isaiah's paper boat, repaired with careful tape, sits on the mantelpiece as a symbol. It has become their emblem, fragile, imperfect, yet unsinkable. On a quiet evening, father and son stand together on the balcony, watching the sun sink into the ocean. The sky burns orange, the horizon glowing like promise. Isaiah leans against him, whispering, "We're the luckiest family in the world." Marcus swallows hard, blinking against tears. "Yes, we are. For a man who once worshipped wealth, who trusted only in code and certainty, this is the truest fortune he has ever known." The mansion lights dim for the night. Down the hall, Isaiah hums himself to sleep, the melody carrying through the house. Marcus listens, heart steady, faith reborn. In the silence after the notes fade, he whispers the truth that now anchors his life. Love is the only legacy worth leaving. The narrator's voice enters softly, like a breeze carrying warmth through the closing images of Marcus and Isaiah's new life together. In a world dazzled by wealth and technology, Marcus believed he had everything a man could need, until a hungry child appeared at his door. What began as inconvenience became the very key to his salvation. He discovered that no mansion is truly full until it holds laughter. No fortune is complete until it is shared. No heart is whole until it learns to love. The scene lingers on Isaiah's paper boat, resting proudly on the mantel, golden light spilling across it. Isaiah brought with him not riches, but a truth far greater, that love alone can heal, restore, and bind souls into family. It cannot be calculated or bought. It is a miracle offered freely, to those willing to open their doors and their hearts. Images fade to Marcus and Isaiah walking hand in hand by the ocean, silhouettes framed by the setting sun. The legacy Marcus leaves will not be measured in bank accounts or empires. His true inheritance is a boy who once begged for bread and instead gave him faith. And together, they remind us all love is the wealth that never fades, the miracle that never ends. The screen fades to black as the lullaby hum drifts one final time. 3 notes, rising, falling, rising.